Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. If this is your first time here, think about subscribing. I'm trying to get to 100 by the end of the year, and I can get there with your help. And if you're a subscriber and you've returned, I love you. I'm John Stark from movieguy.com, and this is my review of Meet Cute. This is a Peacock original, supposedly. Although I have a feeling this at one point was a Redbox original acquired by Peacock, because later on in the opening credits you find out that it says in association with Redbox. So I don't know where this film was originally headed, but it's on Peacock now. I'm a blind film critic. I don't know that this matters here. So it's not, no Transformers were harmed in the making of this film. So join me. Let's talk about this. So if you've watched the preview at all for Meet Cute, even the little thing that Peacock plays, like when you hover over a title, it immediately reveals to you that the time travel is an element of the film. So it's one of those. Kaylee Cuoco plays a girl who basically keeps traveling 24 hours back, and she keeps going on the same first date with Pete Davidson. And it's, she's trying to get it right. She's trying to nail the perfect date and have the perfect day. And it doesn't always work out for her, because she's probably certifiable. I'm just going to go with unstable at this point. And she doesn't really have a good grasp on, she doesn't have a filter, this reminded me a lot of her flight attendant character, Cassie, which was a little manic and all over the place. And she just kind of doesn't have a filter and just kind of says things. So she keeps revealing to him that she's a time traveler, which always leads to a weird conversation, because anytime, you know what I'm saying? If you met somebody in the real world and you were out on a date with them and they were like, I'm a time traveler, and they said it and they were trying to convince you that they were in fact a time traveler, it would be a weird conversation for you. And I don't know that you would end that night thinking, I'm going to give this girl a second date, And that's kind of how a lot of her dates go. And she gets frustrated with how everything goes. And I'm like, have you ever tried going on a date where you don't tell him you're a time traveler? But the film progresses and you slowly see like how many days are accumulating. I think the first one it's like day 5. And slowly, as the film progresses, it just keeps growing day and day and day and day. And their relationship, and that's really all I want to tell you about the plot of the film. That there's a time travel element. She is actually time traveling. She's not crazy. That's important to know. But the rest of it, there's a whole other side to her character, which is not really totally revealed right away, which puts an entire other layer into this film that I didn't quite, I wasn't quite ready for, and it takes the film in a new direction. The film goes from being a rom-com to kind of depressing. Yeah, so what worked and what didn't work with me is I actually really enjoyed Pete Davidson in this. He's actually having to play the straight man here, because he has to believably, every interaction with her has to feel like it's his first interaction with her. And he goes through that moment like 1,000 times. I really liked, there's an ice cream vendor who technically within the confines of the film you only meet once, but the ice cream flavor that he describes is hilarious. #dead. If you stay for the credits, make sure you do, because they do like outtakes, and you get more of him describing the most outlandish ice cream flavors ever. It's like artesian ice cream, and it's it's not even like a big feature in the film, but it's like my favorite thing about the film. Is this random ice cream guy who's come up with these bizarre ice cream flavors. And I wish the whole film had featured him, because they keep going to a lot of the same places over and over. But for some reason, they only go to the ice cream guy once, like in the film. And I'm like, this film so needed the levity of going to this ice cream guy and his random ass flavors. I loved it. He's the unsung hero of this film, and he makes the outtakes worth watching, to sit there and listen to his absurd, just totally absurd ice cream flavors. And Kaylee this is just Cassie from Flight Attendant repurposed, just to be totally honest. I mean, a lot of the same beats she went through in the Flight Attendant, she's going through here. Now, into the things that didn't work for me, there's no backstory. And that's kind of a huge thing, because we're only presented what we're told in the confines of the date. There isn't a build-up to the story for either character. We don't learn more about Pete or Kaylee's characters much more than before this date. Even Kaylee, when she's describing how her life was going right before the her decision to time travel, is super vague about why her life was not working, about what it was that had caused her to get to this point. And I needed that, because I'm sorry, but if you want me to invest in the back half of her character, I needed to know the why. Because it's just, the whole film is kind of centered on that once you get there. And it never answers the question as to, how did we get here? Why are we here? And it's just kind of like she just woke up and was like, my life sucks. And it's like, cool, but why does your life suck? Like, what happened? What was it? Work? Did a boyfriend break up with you? Did you lose somebody? Did somebody die? Like, are you getting kicked out of your apartment? Are you broke? Like, what went wrong? This film never answers that question. And it's so immensely frustrating, because when you have a character like her character, that you're so invested in. I know a lot of times when this happens, we don't always know the why, because things can just happen and we see it from afar. But when we're living in the moment and we're also seeing Pete Davidson having to deal with this, there should be a why in this story. There should be a preface to this story. You cannot avoid it. Fuck this film for avoiding it, honestly, because I thought this film was intelligent and funny, but it refuses to give these characters a backstory. It gives them only what you need to know, and then the need to know information gets roped in so that the film can seem super clever, so it can be cute, basically. But the film has to have these characters have some sort of purpose in life. There has to be a reason for the choices that they make and the reason why they are where they are. But God damn it won't tell us that. It just will not. Refuses to do it. And then at the end of the film, we kind of just end things really kind of on a note where it's like, all right, so I guess we were always destined to have that ending, but I think that's the safe ending, and I'm not sure it's the ending we deserved. I'm not sure it's the ending we all wanted. I'm not sure it's the ending we should have gotten. I think we probably should have, if we're talking about like healthy and a truly healthy relationship and building healthy characters and trying to show people, you know, what could be, I'm not sure that's the ending. So it's charming at times, but it swings for the fences and it becomes something completely different, and then tries to come back home like a Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan rom-com, you know, where he's rushing to the top of the Empire State Building type thing. And it's like, no, no, no. Hold on. You've become something, a totally different monster altogether. We need to have, I'm sorry, but we need to talk about Kevin. You know, like, we have to have a new conversation. I just don't think you can play with mental health like this. I don't think that that's what this is. So it's a very strange, bizarre film. Watch it or don't watch it. I'm leaning on the watch. I think there's some charming stuff here, and it's possible that at least since his King of Staten Island, this is Pete Davidson's best performance. He's immensely likable, and it's the first film that casts him legitimately in a role where he could be a romantic lead. So, yeah, and there isn't really much wrong with his character. His character is presented just as is. It's just Kaylee Cuoco's character needs far more depth than this film ever gave her character and consideration to. So, the audio description was fine. I didn't really have any glaring problems or omissions with the film. It's all in the plot. You know, it's in the details. Some of it I just don't want to spoil. So I'm trying to avoid, because if I could take a hammer to this film and then you wouldn't see it. So I'm trying to leave this optimistically because I didn't totally hate it. So I want you to be able to see it if that's what you want. So there's a lot of stuff I can't talk about because it would spoil things. And no, this film is not cool enough to do a spoiler review. So I'm not going to do one of those. You're just going to have to try to figure out what I'm saying without saying it. And make your judgment. The film could be triggering for some people. I don't know. I would say potential trigger warning. So yeah. That's it. That's all I got. So it's time to grade. Meet Cute. I'm gonna give Meet Cute a C+. It squanders all of its potential, I think, and relies solely just on the likability of its cast and the likability of the ice cream vendor. That definitely helped. That definitely helped send because I would watch, I would watch just a video of that guy describing the weirdest ice cream flavors known to man. That alone could make for like an interesting, at least short film. Is the ice cream vendor story of people just keep coming up and asking him for ice cream flavors, and he just keeps describing, and I laughed every time. Every flavor was as outlandish and ridiculous as possible, and the film needed so much more of that. But we got what we got, so that's it. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 100, so try to help me get there by subscribing. You can visit my website, macthemovieguy.com. You can let me know what you think in the comments. You can go to the audio description project. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And the adna.org, that's the adna.org, will let you know who's describing what. Unfortunately, this was a Peacock film, and Peacock always forces me into another film in the middle of the credits. So as soon as the outtakes were over, guess what happened? Ripped out of the film. Didn't get to the narrator. So that's it. That's all I got. I gotta go review something else, and I will see you on the other side, or possibly in 24 hours if we're stuck in a time loop like this film is. So